Brian Felder is my boy. What's up, Brian?
He'll show up, we'll leave, and just let
Brian and Tom, who's the other owner of the company, they sat down, and Brian found out that in previous years he was helping some people that were distressed. They had no money, they had to sell their home, and he would help them out financially and say, hey, look, I know some contractors, I'll pay for it, you just pay me back at closing. Okay? And that's when, it's a niche.
it is.
There's very few companies out there doing what we do. And that's when they sat down and they said, let's make something out of this.
What's going on, everybody? Today, we're going to delve into the deep world of pre-list renovation companies. Discover how targeted upgrades can boost your home's value and appeal, ensuring a quicker sale and a higher price. Join us today as we discover and uncover the secrets behind successful pre-listing renovations with expert guests from the industry. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor.
Coach Marcus, what's up, y'all?
And today we got a special guest. We got David Schroder and Bethany Bond from Max House Price. What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Hi.
And lady?
Good to have y'all.
Sometimes.
I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm learning YouTube. Don't. So David and Bethany from Max House Price, a pre-listing renovation company. Tell us a little bit about your position and a little bit about your businesses. You guys can harmonize or take every other word.
I'll take it off with it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm Dave Schroder, Director of Construction with Max House Price. I oversee all the construction process through the whole DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We have our whole, our operations team that works under me, doing it from start to finish, and then I'll hand it off to Bethany, what her role is.
I am the renovation consultant, so I will go out and meet with the sellers and agents and walk the home, and we get the list together of what we think will be the best return on investment, and I will get the estimate ready, work with Dave on that, and then I'm the point of contact the whole way through the process.
I love it. One of my clients, our clients, mine and Marcus, one of the biggest problems, especially homeowners, is one of the things they've seen in this market a lot is with the decrease in interest rates, increase in prices, and now the increase in interest rates and them being locked in to sub 3 interest rates. A lot of people don't want to move, right? And so if they do move, they find themselves that they're probably going to end up buying in a higher interest rate market. Them having to buy in a higher interest rate market, now they're like, oh man, can I get as dope a house as I'm in right now? Or am I basically going to be making a lateral move because the amount of mortgage that I'm paying now at 3%, I'm going to almost double my mortgage if I try to buy even the same exact house I have right now. I think a lot of people are feeling that way when you buy in the sub 3 low interest rate market, but their families are getting bigger. Their schools, probably the kids got to go to different schools. They got to relocate in some type of way. So now a lot of people that we're seeing that are selling are in a position. 3 years ago they sold because they were just taking advantage of a dope market. Like, yeah, sure, why not? We can get double the house for half the price. Let's do it. We can pull some of the equity out. But now, and I'm sure you're seeing this, Marcus, in this higher interest rate market, there's not a lot of options for them to move without having to double maybe sometimes their already low interest rate mortgage payments.
Yeah. There's that buyer's remorse. It's almost like there's a new term called I didn't buy and I have remorse type of thing, because they should have done it at 3%, but now, rates are doubled and, inventory is short. And I get those conversations quite often about, not knowing what to do and how to do it. And even those that are currently homeowners, how do I edit my house to the extent where it begins to benefit not only us, but if we decide to sell, then it can be attractive to the next buyer. I just had a conversation yesterday with a girl who has a condo, and she's like, well, what if I upgrade the condo? And I do, she named a bunch of things, and I was like, what's that, $40,000-$50,000 worth of work? And she's like, yeah, probably. I'm like, well, if you had a single family home, any revisions to a home where you spend $40,000-$50,000, you might be renovating a kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, adding something or whatever. Now that helps with your square footage, right, and amenities. So now your price and your value is higher. But in a condo, you're locked in because of the walls. You got somebody maybe above you, beside you, beneath you. So that $50,000 you might spend is not going to go anywhere except for curb appeal. How do you all help people that are homeowners like really execute so that they can stay in the home and make a better revision to the house or get it ready for sale? What's your process for that?
I mean, it's so when we come in, with our process, and Bethany, when her role coming in to meet with the agent and the client, we want to do what makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're going to sell, you don't want to overprice the renovations to where you're not going to get your money back, or is it a wash?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it becomes where you have to do X, Y, and Z to get the house up to par to sell it, and it's $50,000, but you're only gaining that $50K in increase for sale price.
Yeah.
Why do it?
Yeah.
And we're very straightforward with our clients about it.
And not because you're more focused on the preparing for the sales side instead of just helping people stay in their homes. And
we do both.
You do both. Okay.
Yeah. So
you
we
do
also
more on one side than the other.
No. I mean, we want to help people. We're transparent. We're very honest about it. If they want to stay in the home, we come in and say, we kind of analyze everything and just say, well, what is your goal? Are you going to live here for another 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? What makes sense? Do you want to break the bank if you're only going to stay here for another few years?
Right.
Or if you're selling, same type of concept of what I was saying before.
Okay.
So we want to be as open and transparent with the agents and the clients as much as possible.
Yeah.
So max house price. What exactly? What's your elevator pitch? What do you all do for the consumer? Why would a homeowner even need a company like Max House Price?
Well, most sellers, or a lot of sellers, don't have the money or want to put up the money before they sell the home. So that's where we come in and we pay for the renovations. We manage the renovations. We have a designer on staff that, makes the home appeal to the 99% of the people that are out there looking at the market. So they can be on hands-on as they want or hands-off as they want, which is nice. So like I said, we have a project manager that comes over and checks on the property once or twice a week. We keep in contact with them once a week to give them an update of what's going on. The designer will give them choices, and they work together. And this is where we work closely with the agents as well. So we like to always have the agent involved too, because that's where we ask them, what would this house sell for as is versus if we do X, Y, and Z, right? So sometimes it can be just paint and flooring and some light fixtures, or it makes sense to do the kitchens and bathroom. So we always want to make sure that we're getting them the best return on investment.
You mentioned the agent's involved.
Yes.
You're involved.
Correct.
You're involved. There might be some other people involved.
Correct.
And we all know that too many hands in the pot make it. And the clients used to do home improvement, and they have an uncle who helped them, showed them how to start a chainsaw at some point in time. Like, how do you navigate through the space of there's so many cooks in the kitchen?
Usually in the pre-list, versus what we call retail renovations, most people are just overwhelmed with trying to find their new home or packing and getting ready. And I would say that most of them are not really that involved.
Okay.
Right? They just want the updates every week of what's going on. They come to the pre-construction walk meeting where we all walk the scope so we all know what's going to happen. They'll come to the final punch walk where we go through and, see what needs to be fixed or corrected. And then sometimes they have opinions on what the designer, we usually give them A, B, and C choices, and 99% of the time they agree with whatever she's saying, and they're usually pretty hands-off. But that's the good thing about our company. We manage the whole project. You don't have to do anything.
So the unique thing about this company that I think you were kind of alluding to, Beth, was the initial investment that most homeowners associate with doing renovations. Most of the time, if you want to do renovations for homeowners, your traditional route is you either going to, have a duffel bag full of $100 bills. You drop that duffel bag off to David, and then David makes a few phone calls and he makes some things happen, right?
You watching too many movies on Netflix.
Well,
I was going to say.
there's an array of options.
I
Right?
do want to ask
A
a question before
homeowner
you
has,
go.
but yeah, let me keep going.
Who's Beth though?
Bethany?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bethany. This is Marcus. Marcus, Bethany.
Yes.
I thought there was somebody else in the room named Beth. But keep going.
Oh no! It's just Bethany.
I'll answer to Beth. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
We got our own you were 30
y'all
minutes
tight?
late, so
Y'all tight like that?
the 30 minutes that you were late, we already.
I was 30 minutes late.
By the end, he'll be calling her B.
Yeah.
ALB. So that's the first option, the duffel bag full of $100 bills. Most people, maybe the top 1%, will fall into that category. Then the rest of us, regular folk, gonna need some type of finance assistance of some sort. And so that's kind of where max house price comes in, right?
Yeah, I mean, to lay it out, I mean, it's contractors in general. I mean, I've been in construction for 36 years now, and contractors have a bad reputation. I mean, let's lay it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the nature of the beast. So we come in, you're getting a whole team. We all know our roles. We all know what we have to do. You talk about too many hands in the cookie jar. We work well together.
Yeah.
And you have one point of contact, Bethany, your representative. If it needs to go further down, it can. I am more in the background, making sure that all the construction process is getting done correctly. And then, so we all have our roles. We know what we have to do, and we work very well together to make sure that the projects get done on time, in budget, and that everybody's happy.
And you're basically making sure the subs do what they got to do for the property, and you're client facing.
Correct.
Are there more than one Bethany's, or is just you're the only one for?
No, there's two of us.
Okay.
Sometimes three of us.
So y'all can handle volume. Cool. And you licensed the DMV or other states, or?
DC, Virginia, Maryland. Yeah.
Okay.
So can you explain what pre-listing renovation what are pre-listing renovation companies and how they differ from traditional renovation services?
I mean, a lot of construction companies are not going to go and fund all the construction process, manage it, do everything that what we do, that a pre-listing renovation company does, and not get paid until the house goes to closing.
Mm.
So you guys don't need to receive payment until the house is actually sold.
Correct.
So they can do a full renovation on their property before they've even sold the property, as long as they're listing it with a real estate company.
Correct.
Y'all's real estate company.
No,
Any real estate
company. Any real
agent,
estate company.
we don't,
So
yeah.
So all you guys need to see is just
We are not agents. We're not.
Right.
We don't mix.
So y'all get paid on the CD at the end of the deal.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. So y'all front the money, do the work, get paid at the end of the day
Closing. Yep.
at closing.
Yep.
And is there a financial, is there a limit? Can you do like a $2 million renovation on a
Sure.
$600,000 house?
Whatever you want. Basically.
Well, I mean, that's where we work with the agent. We have to know what the house. That's what we ask them. What was the house sell as is? If we do this renovations, what will the selling price be? And we make sure there's enough equity in the home, right? There's got to be enough equity in the home to make sure that we're going to get paid back.
So there's got to be enough equity in it for a renovation to make sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that you can justify a higher sales price, and then you guys get your money back.
Yes.
And we do have our limitations. We have, we won't do projects anything under $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do multifamily dwellings like in DC, where they take these row houses and make them into an apartment.
Come on, man. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
That's our threshold. We don't do teardowns and rebuilds.
Okay.
New
So
construction.
everything rolls in.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Can you take a property that is, let's say that it would be perfect for an FHA or VA scenario for the buyer, right? But this property is an older property. Let's say it's built before 1976, so there's potential like lead paint issues. You've got a deck that's it's safety and you got some safety and structural issues on the deck and all things. Maybe there's some mold. Can you do a full-blown situation like that? Maybe renovate on the inside, clean up the mold, repair the deck, do all the things, and make this house that's $200,000, put $200 into it, but now it's worth $750 because of where it is.
Yes, and yes.
Gosh. Okay.
So
If the numbers make sense.
And what is the time frame? So is there a time frame where you say, okay, we've got this work will take 6 months to do? Right?
Yeah, I mean it's in all the different jurisdictions. DC is probably the most challenging to deal with when it comes to the permitting process and all of that. But yeah, we try to set that expectation up front and let agent and client know, hey, look, this is DC. It could take 2 months to get permits. Once we get the permits, here's our project timeline. Because we put together a full project timeline, week by week by week by week. That's where I sit down with our project manager. He and I go through and set up the whole project timeline. So we set that expectation up front. How long is it going to take?
Yeah. The work is done, and then they get on the market. Are you now saying this house needs to be sold within a matter of 90 days or whatever? Because let's say the process, let's say it gets listed, you've done the work, you got, $250,000 into it, but it's on the market and it just is not selling.
We have it in our agreement that we talk every 21 days, and we just see what the feedback is from people that are showing the house. And we don't have it that you necessarily have to lower the price, but we just talk every 21 days and try to figure out what it is that they're saying about the house. And sometimes if there's something else that still needs to be done and it makes sense, and we're like, okay, maybe we go in and we do a little bit more so they can get this price point.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, as a homeowner, I guess most homeowners are really trying to figure out what they can do to net the most amount for the sale of their property. And you guys bring that expertise, you bring that experience, you bring that that level of consult to the sellers to let them know, like, hey, we might not want to spend $5,000 on doorknobs because maybe that might not be as important as fixing that hole in your roof, right? So how do you guys determine which renovations are going to return the most amount, are going to be the best return on investment for the homeowners? And then how do you determine, and then what are the ones that you see most commonly? Like, what are the most common renovations that you guys do? Maybe one can take one and one can take the other.
I mean, for most common is your painting, flooring, kitchens and baths, anywhere from light cosmetic to full gut. It really depends on the condition of the property. As far as how we approach it and come in, what makes sense of what to do, we look at the comps in the area, what's been renovated, what has not been renovated, and see what we're competing against. Because we don't want to overdo it in a neighborhood that's not going to get the return on the investment. So we can downsize that scope of work that's going to fit in that area of where the home is. So.
I've seen.
And then, what are the most common ones like the most common renovation that you see homeowners request?
Like you said, painting, flooring, light fixtures, kitchens. Sometimes
I'm sorry,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
I think sometimes we paint the cabinets versus replacing the cabinets. Some bathrooms, if we can, if they don't need a full gut, we can do glazing of the tubs and the walls and just do new mirror and light fixture and vanities. So like he said, it just depends. We look and see what else is on the market in the area and find out what makes the most sense.
I used to work in Vienna, and when I lived in Manassas, drive 66, get off 123, and we wind through the neighborhoods. And it's older homes, probably 1960s maybe built. But then as I worked there for like 10 years, closer to the end of my tenure, you would see these houses get knocked down and be rebuilt. Right, so you probably know, like off of Cedar Lane back in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there'll be this house that would look like my grandma's house,
little small Cape Cod,
next to a house that looked like it should be like on the front of a magazine, right?
Yeah.
And how the comps have got to be like really difficult, especially the first person that did this.
Right,
got to be like really hard. So when you have a project that a person wants to do something that the numbers are just not making sense, what is your communication like to them? Because their dream that's here in that heart, it's kind of hard to overcome when it comes to real numbers. How do you navigate through that space of a conversation where you got to edit these expectations a little bit?
well, if they're paying cash and it's a retail, we'll do whatever they want. It doesn't really matter. They want to live however they want to live. But I mean, yeah, if it's a pre-list and we're fronting the money and everything, then again, this is where we work closely with the agents, right? And we look at the comps and we see, and I mean, we've turned down lots of jobs where the numbers don't make sense.
Yeah.
And you know, we're not going to do something that doesn't make sense.
I love this concept. Because it really is helpful, because like people can get the home sold if they can hold out for 6 months, right? They can put themselves into a totally different bracket if they can just be a little bit, you know, more patient.
Right.
Now, do y'all have just totally different year in construction, 36 years?
Yeah.
Do you all like buy land, develop, and build from the ground up and do any of that?
No.
Okay.
So, where did y'all come up with this idea? Because I know a lot of people probably have thought about it, right?
So yeah, the two founders of the company, they have known each other for a lot of years before they started the company. But they sat down one day because one of the owners is an agent. Okay, and he has
Brian Felder. What up, B? What up, B?
I wasn't going to say names, but anyway.
He's going to take over. You know he's going to take over when he comes in.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to take over.
Yeah,
Brian Felder is my boy. What's up, Brian?
He'll show up, we'll leave, and just
Brian and Tom, who's the other owner of the company, they sat down, and Brian found out that in previous years he was helping some people that were distressed. They had no money. They had to sell their home, and he would help them out financially and say, hey, look, I know some contractors. I'll pay for it. You just pay me back at closing. Okay? And that's when, you know, it's a niche.
It is.
There's very few companies out there doing what we do. And that's when they sat down and they said, let's make something out of this. You know, and Tom, he came from Express Home Buyers. So his background.
We'll buy your house in 7 days.
Yeah.
That one.
So, you know, Tom, you know, he left Express and sat down with Brian and said, you know, they literally did this at a bar at a real estate convention, and I want to say, I think it was Nashville, maybe, writing stuff down on napkins.
Yep,
gotta love it.
And that's, you know, this is how we're made of. I mean, when you create
I think
businesses.
it was 2018, right?
2018.
They started
20. We're in our 6th year in business, so yeah, 2018.
It's really good.
That's how they started it. You know,
yeah.
People need help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got to be honest about it. You can't. We're not in a get rich quick scheme where we don't try to sell people a bill of goods. We're straightforward about everything. And I've been that way all my entire career in construction. I ran a construction company for 15 years, and that's why Brian and Tom recruited me in, was because they knew my ethics and the values that I hold, same values as them. And it's just you're not going to get anywhere if you try to con people.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, so
tell us a little bit. I think we should have started with that. Tell us a little bit about your background. Who are you? Like, this some guy I found on the street somewhere? Or?
No, I mean, I started in construction 1988. I went to college for a few months and dropped out. And
what's cool?
Nova.
Dropouts.
Virginia boys, we don't do school well, but we make something out of ourselves.
Bowie State, we drop out all the time.
But yeah, I mean, I got into production housing as a carpenter and did that for 14 years, maybe 12, 14 years, somewhere in there. Started my own business, ran a company for 15 years, and then ended up dissolving that company, selling it out to somebody else who was trying to grow, helped him grow, and then I started finding that I could help newer companies grow, so I kind of farmed myself out like that. And I've known Brian just when I had my construction company and getting involved with him with business and real estate and all that. And my wife's been in real estate and mortgages for 25 years, and just, getting to know Brian, and then Tom and Brian starting this company, they came to me, and I was running another company, and they were like, can you help us out? We really have no idea what we're doing and on the construction side of it. So I started helping them. And then what I was doing was, as a GC, I was running the crews and keeping everything at baseline for them. And they would pay me a small fee off on side of what the actual costs were. And then after 2 years, Tom goes, "I need you as my director of construction, man. What is it going to take?"
Yeah.
Great pitch.
And then you
I
ended
just
up
need you.
in Silver Spring, Maryland on a podcast.
Yeah, right.
What about you, Bethany?
I've
background?
just kind of been in real estate. My mom was an agent, and then she worked for a builder. So I used to help her on the weekends and sit in the model home. And she said, "Don't go into real estate." And then I went to school, and I was a dental hygienist. And then my husband decided to become an agent, and then I decided to become an agent. But I kind of like backed off of that, and he's still an agent. But I like working on this side. We do investment properties for ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But I love being in the renovation side of it. So, and this company is great. And I said it's very hard to find a company that is so wonderful. And actually, all the people I love this company, and they're all very honest people, which is hard to find.
I wish I'd have known about this. I'm thinking about all the clients that I've talked to over the years that I've had. They've gotten to this spot,
Right.
and there's just no way to get around. They don't have the money to do it, and then the house is kind of locked into a certain price point,
Right.
and they just need a fresh start or whatever. Man, I'm thinking about like tens.
Oh, I've had people in tears on the phone with me.
Yeah.
They're just like, "Oh, thank you. Like, this
Yeah,
is
that's gotta be
amazing."
great, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and that's such a good feeling when you
Mhm.
know. And then, they usually need that. Who doesn't need money,
Yeah.
I mean, and they know that they're going to get more money. And it's, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I used you guys for the first time. This was when it was another lady that used to work with you all, a house out in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and it was I think it was like it's like maybe a $375,000 house up in row house in Gaithersburg, and it was a good experience, man. I mean, you guys are like super professional, easy to communicate with, and even though, like you said, Marcus, there's a bunch of people up in the kitchen or whatever. It was a seamless process. I didn't feel like I was talking to like 80 different people.
That's
Right.
Yeah, I mean, y'all went in there, got the work done, and it looked good. I've done a few rehabs. I'm obviously not like as experienced as you are, David, but I can tell, and I've been in business 13 years, so I can tell a crap job from a really good job, and you guys definitely did a really good job.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Bethany said, it's very, very gratifying, with the clients that we have, seeing the transformation that we can make and the benefits that it offers to the client,
Mhm.
and the agent. I mean,
Right.
you guys look like rock stars when,
Yeah, we do.
yeah,
Yeah,
seriously.
y'all really do. It's a perfect.
I mean, you're the ones that are bringing us in to your client,
Right.
and you get to look like the rock star, because at the end of the day, when the house sells, client's going to come to you and go, "Thank you for everything you've done."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
And it ultimately goes to help the homeowner out of a situation where, you need to come up with, maybe you need to just do something small, like $50,000, which I know people in the cheap seats are like, $50,000, that ain't small. But in order for
money.
But in a world
Yeah.
of construction, that ain't that much money. It's a good amount.
That
to
barely
do a
get you out the
couple-
kitchen.
It gets
Yeah.
you might get you some floors and then get some toilet paper. That's about because and you can speak to this, Bethany or David. Construction costs have gone up, materials gone up, labor costs gone up.
Mhm.
How are you guys seeing that affect your business?
Good question.
I mean, it is. I have to the template that we use for our estimates. I have to constantly go in and just keep updating it and changing it, because sometimes I get stuff that I've marked up. Now I have to mark it down because prices go down. I want to be as fair and competitive as we can be.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to being right, treating your client right, not trying to overprice things or underprice. So
Yeah.
it's challenging. I mean, but that's what we're here for.
Name of the game. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of times they're shocked at like what their money actually buys them?
Oh, definitely.
So what do you say? Like, so we were talking. You're a homeowner. You say, okay, I just want to spruce it up a little bit. Just want to. How do you guys do as far as like a cost benefit analysis to say, if we drop 30 in here, do you guys have like an algorithm that you use to say, for every, and I'm using this as a made up number, for every dollar you spend, you want to get you want to double it. So if you spend 30, you want to at least get that 60 on the list price side. How do you guys quantify like how much you put in versus what it's going to do to fix the property and then, you know, for the ultimate list price?
Well, that's where we work with the agents, right? We don't ever promise anything. You know, in this world, you don't know you can't promise anything, right? I mean,
For sure.
but that's why we work with the agents and look at the comps and, you know, and see what makes the sense. So it's just, you know, like he said earlier, if you're going to put in 50, you know, we want to see that they're going to get, you know, 70 back. Right? If it's going to be 50 and you're only going to get 50 back, it's not worth your time and effort to go through it. But that's why we like to work closely with the agents, because they're the experts.
Yeah. Love it. And then what
You made me think of something, and I was
you had
But you're the expert?
It came out, but then like it quickly keep going out.
I'm having a thought.
No.
So then I guess I had another other question in case you
Go ahead.
while your fax machine was software was updated. So when you work with real estate agents, how in the pre-listing phase, how do your services? We kind of went over a little bit, but how do your services complement the real estate agent's efforts?
In the listing phase of it,
The pre-listing phase.
how do we complement the agent?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a tool in your tool bag. I mean, you're walking in trying to win a listing. Okay, you can immediately say, "Look, I have a company that I partner with. They'll come in, they'll do all the renovations. What makes sense to do? They'll fund it all. They'll manage it all. You don't have to come out of pocket anything. And then once the house sells, when I get it sold for you, then you pay them back. There's nothing. It's a win-win for everyone.
That's really good. I do remember because we do a lot of work in the probate space, right?
Yeah.
So someone passes the heir, then you have a authorized representative that can manage the affairs, and sometimes that person wants to buy the house, but then they want to buy the house, and you know that house a lot of times is not in the best of shape. So have you ever worked in situations?
I see where you're going.
I think I know where you're
That's
going.
a good question. But go ahead and finish in case you say something that I'm not thinking you about to say.
So this is what happens when you talk all the time and you're ready to so get out of my head. So let's say we know that the house needs some work, but like there may be a reverse mortgage or something like that on it, but they can't afford the house. Like whatever the case may be, the authorized representative cannot afford this house. Can you take that property and then go in, work with the agents, say this house needs $300,000 worth of work, and then
That's a good idea, bro. So
It's a very-
seats. Marcus is basically saying if you inherit a property, can max house price go and renovate the property, and then we put it on the market? The estate would sell the property, and then the personal representative would get the profits.
We've had that come up before.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
Dang.
yeah, because the way our process works,
Mm-hmm.
we do what's called a deed of trust. So we put the deed of trust on the property, and it's not a lien. It's just our guarantee to get paid when the house sells.
Mhm.
You're asking us to come in and fund it with no leverage on the property, right?
No, you can do it. Y'all can do it. We're gonna do this. I got about 4 properties. You're doing this. That's a good idea, Marcus. No, basically what you do, you can put a deed of trust. You can put a deed of trust on there. That's fine. Don't matter because they can't sell it without removing the deed of trust.
Right.
So the personal representative would just sign on behalf of the decedent.
So all you need is security to be able to make sure
Is the property.
that you
Right.
get
Oh,
that
but
you
you're not
get
the
your
first on the property.
Right.
You guys got to be the first.
No. So
Okay.
we are second after any mortgage,
Ooh.
lien.
So then y'all can do it. I'll
oh.
talk to Dave Fellow. Dave,
Brian.
Oh, Brian. I got this for you, Brian. He's the best friend.
Real Estate
He's my
Brian
best friend.
Squad. Y'all know that Dan does not remember names and he jacks up the
Dave.
ones that he does know.
Brian.
So yeah, we definitely that's what was firing off. I was like, wait,
That fax machine was
I
slow.
get
yeah,
it.
get smoke out of here, buddy.
Yeah, we really should, because like scenario after scenario, like we have this
As long as we have security on the home
sure.
and the equity's in there, then it works for us. I mean, that's
Oh my gosh.
See, the only thing that will probably throw a monkey wrench in you guys' soup, to mix my metaphors, would be if there is a reverse mortgage and that reverse mortgage gets called, then y'all get stuck with the bag. But it's only like $300,000 or $400,000 you could possibly lose. Not that much. You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Trump checks.
That's in the couch. But we've only but to our credit, we haven't had many that have had the reverse
Yeah, I
mortgage.
only have that one on T. Did you ever see
The
the
one-
property on T Street? I had a property on T Street.
Yeah.
The
The one we talked about last week.
Terrace, that one with the other lady, that one's gone. But on brighter news, speaking of foreclosures, looking towards the future, how do you guys see, in our last question here, how do you guys see the role of pre-listing renovation companies evolving, and where do you guys see it in the next 20 years?
Ooh, Dave.
I think that's a question both of us can answer. That's a tough one. I mean, we try to continue to evolve with the market.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time in the DMV. I've seen the ups and downs, the waves.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to buckle down. I mean, it's right now with the interest rates. It's been challenging. It's not like it was 3 years ago, which we haven't seen since 2006. I think with the experience that we have within our company, with everyone's roles, I mean, we're in a good area.
Yeah, for sure.
This is kind of, I hate to use this word, but
Isolated.
it's bulletproof. I mean, we're in a recession-proof area, but not 100%. But between the transition of government and military,
sports teams, colleges.
Yep. I think that we're in a very good area where we can hold strong during down times, and we can adjust and modify as we need to as a company to stay in it and keep going. I mean, I think that this pre-list renovations, there are so many people that I talk to, not necessarily on a daily basis, but frequently, that have no clue about it.
Mm-hmm.
And now me being involved with it for 6 years, I feel like everybody should know. You should know about it.
I feel the same way. Sitting in this room, I'm like, that's why my brain is going everywhere. I'm like, man, why don't?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of real estate agents that just don't even get involved with it, And now I know there's some real estate agencies are trying to do that. Oh, we'll have the agents manage it, and it's falling apart on it because they don't know what they're doing. They've got sloppy contractors. We vet our contractors through a 3-step process. I'm last in line. And if you are a contractor trying to BS me, I'm going to call your bluff. So we want people that are licensed, insured, have the experience, have good references, and are willing to do the work at the prices we set, knowing they're not going to get rich off of one job. That it's about a relationship, and build that relationship with our contractors, and they know that they're going to get continual business.
Get more overtime. That's dope. What about you, Bethany?
What Dave said.
I'm with it.
Yeah, that's good, man. Bethany, basically renovation specialist. She's like, yeah, this guy, he knows what's going on. No, I really appreciate, honestly, you, Bethany, for jumping on and texting me back and forth and getting this thing figured out. I think this company, there's a few companies out there, whose names shall not be mentioned, but you guys are the dopest in my personal experience, because I've dealt with the other one.
I said read reviews, so that's why I said read the reviews.
Yeah, your reviews are dope.
Again,
personal experience is dope.
Very honest.
Yeah.
And who y'all are connected to? Like, I know we joked around it, but like the fact that, like, I've been in the business 21 years, and I've known Brian every bit of 15 of it, right? And he's always been strong, always been consistent, always been like forward thinking. And we all both know, we know that he got a lot of ideas, right? And his background being a stand-up comedian, it works well, right? He's he's not afraid of the pressure,
No.
right? And to stand alone and to say what needs to be said for the purpose of benefiting everybody else. So the fact that this is something that's kind of off of that vine or that branch of his of prior things that I know about that he's done. Even that rewards program he had back in the day was like, do you remember that?
No.
Oh man.
Oh, I do.
Okay. So it was genius, and I was like, dang, no, nobody else think of it. Well, Best Buy did, and everybody else did. You know, so like the fact that y'all have some strong relationships, I really, really am encouraged and look forward to building something with y'all. And y'all, Real Estate Wire Squad, like, watch this, share it, like it, subscribe, go to their website, like look into it. If you're a homeowner and you probably need it and you don't even know that you need it, but then be unafraid of running your mouth to the next person to ask them about their situation, because you got some help here, right here in the DMV.
Yep. Where can they find you at, David?
Where can you find us?
Yeah, on the socials. On the internet.
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, well, on Instagram, Facebook.
He's like, I don't know. Ask her. Ask her.
I mean, we're all over the place. You know, the social media part of it. I mean, we're daily posting.
So what's a good website for people to get in contact with you guys in case they wanted to get like a quote or
maxhouseprice.com.
maxhouseprice.com. What about you, Bethany? You got any socials? No socials?
No, I'm not. I'm learning.
Y'all
We're learning. I'm learning.
Y'all black.
My kids
that.
taught
My
me,
kids,
so.
yeah, they're
Wait a minute, y'all are our age. We're Gen X?
Gen X.
Yes.
I'm a millennial, y'all. I don't know what y'all
Whatever.
You're 42?
Yeah, 1982, baby.
Yeah,
Whatever.
millennial.
They do have Facebook. I'm looking at the website.
Sorry, I was paying attention.
Yeah, we do have Facebook.
I'm looking at the website, y'all. So they have Facebook,
Yeah.
they have YouTube, they have a LinkedIn page, and they have Instagram.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
it's probably Max House Price across the board. Look them up.
Yep. Or if you can't do any of that, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that notifications button so you're the first to know when we drop new content. Where can they find you at, Coach Marcus?
At Fields Mortgage Group and at Mortgage Coach Marcus on Instagram.
I am Dan Wheeler, sells homes on all platforms. For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire podcast, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are out.
All right, now I gotta take a picture. I was trying to do that.
Say now I gotta take a piss.
I was really good.
The outhouse right out there.
That'd be the first one.